All right, we should be live any second. And there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. My name is Chris. And of course, this is my channel, Barn on 11970. And as always, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to what I have to say and hopefully hear your input and your opinions of this matter, because I think this is going to be a very interesting time coming up in the next 4 days. Right now, it is 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the 16th of January, 2017, and I want to talk about what's going to be happening in 4 days, and that's the uh, inauguration of Donald Trump as the president of the U.S. corporation. And the first thing I want to ask is your opinion. So when you get the moment, especially when this video uploads, I want you to leave in the comment section what you think is going to be happening, because there's a lot of situations going on. You see that the leftists and the propagandists in the mainstream media, the real fake news, they are still trying so hard to make this into something it's not. And the biggest thing I notice is they are constantly hammering the whole Russian influence to the point where if you say something long enough, people start to regurgitate it. And I noticed watching all of this mainstream media, I watch a couple of clips here and there because I don't have cable TV. I'm not going to invest and spend money on propaganda, but I will watch a clip here and there just to see what's going on. And there was this one interview that I think it was NBC, correct me if I was wrong, that was interviewing Vice President-elect Mike Pence, and 90% of the interview was the person saying the word Russia or Russian. Probably, I would have to say he said it at least 30 times in the questions. It was nonstop to the point where it's like they're trying to hammer it home so you keep hearing the same thing over and over again. As a matter of fact, there are Democratic representatives who will not be appearing at the inauguration, saying that he was not legitimately placed in as president. And a lot of people on the left are saying this to the point where, because we know that the Hollywood, these basically prostitutes in the mainstream media and the Hollywood actors who get paid to lie to you, that's basically what they do. They're all saying that they will not even show up. They will not perform because they're afraid that they will have some kind of, lashing by their fans if they actually go to Trump's inauguration. Now, there was a video I made last summer. I made a couple of videos about how Obama could technically get a third term, and I still think that that is in the realm of possibility because it hasn't happened yet. The inauguration hasn't happened, and there's so much rumors going around. I mean, you have this Bikers for Trump who are going to go to the inauguration to kind of get, like, at least keep in line with the all the protesters are going to show up there, and they say there's a lot of people that are going to protest this. And I think this is a very sad thing. Now, I mean, this is, like I've said in numerous videos, I mean, the United States is not what you think it is. If you're not familiar with that, please watch my video about the truth of the United States law and you. It will explain to you how our government sold our country out in the 1800s. And it had to do with the Civil War and going bankrupt. Now, at the time, maybe they thought they were doing the right thing. They did not foresee what the Bank of London from the Rothschilds were going to do. But you ever notice that most of the media that's corrupt is the United States of America Corporation and also over in England, like especially the BBC. How many people don't know at this point that those, like MSNBC, the BBC, CNN, they're all corrupt? I saw a thing yesterday they were talking about on a video clip that CNN still has over 300,000 people watching their newscast, which in a larger scale is not a lot, but still, that's still plenty of people that are still giving into the propaganda. And in my opinion, I really think, um, will he become president? It's hard to say at this point because there's so much going against him. And I mean, I made the videos about how they wanted Hillary Clinton to be president, and obviously as of now, she is not president, but I mean, look how hard they were trying, and to this day, still trying to get rid of Donald Trump. Now, is this reverse psychology? Who knows? Because, like I said, in my opinion, you're just going from a bad slave owner to a better slave owner, but you're still a slave. As far as gold and silver, I mean, I've been talking about that for the longest time. You see gold finally go back up over 1200. It's been trying to touch that a couple of times. It hit it and then dropped back down. In my opinion, if you notice about what happens in the markets, manipulated or not, when there is uncertainty, people tend to go to the precious metals. That's why, for example, when they did raise the interest rates a minuscule amount, what did people do? They went straight towards physical gold and silver. You know, some people went for the SLV and GLD, which is just silly, and the prices rose. So it shows every time with this uncertainty, people will go to the precious metals. Now we know thanks to Deutsche Bank's admittance to this that they've proven that the banks are colluding to manipulate the prices of gold and silver. I mean, this is not any longer a conspiracy theory. I mean, they settled out of court and they have proof of the conversations between banks. So all the people that tried to attack me and others for years saying, oh, that's this crazy conspiracy theory, it's actually a proven fact, and yet they're still allowed to do it. So in my opinion, if everything goes through and Trump is sworn in as the next president of this corporation, I expect, at least temporarily, the prices of metals to go up because there'll be a lot of uncertainty about what's going on. There's going to be a lot of people panicking, especially on the left-hand side, because they're being so overdramatic. I mean, they think the sky is going to be falling and they're all of a sudden all going to be lined up to be shot. I mean, the paranoia is just ridiculous at this point. But knowing how they are still allowed to manipulate the market, in my opinion, the high prices will be short-lived. I would give it 24 hours tops before they hammer it down by dumping a bunch of paper, gold, and silver onto the market so they can lower the prices. The problem is they can't do that forever. The fact that we're getting to the point where it's no longer a conspiracy and it's actually proven that it's manipulated is the first step in exposing it. And once it's done, and once they stop the manipulation, those prices are going to skyrocket. The problem is, when is the big question. And obviously, no one can answer that. It's like blowing into a very large balloon. You know that if you blow into that balloon forever, eventually it's going to pop. But because it can stretch, you're never going to know the exact second that's going to happen. So this is going to be, I mean, this is supposed to be, the inauguration day is supposed to be about the transference of power. And I've never seen such controversy. I mean, 2016 and now going into 2017 have been the most divided I've ever seen in this country. To the point where, I mean, you watch some of the videos of other people, especially on the left. I mean, I'm talking extremists that are so out of touch with reality. It just makes you wonder, I mean, how much of this is really staged? I mean, you see, I mean, if you watch the video the other week that I made, or a couple of days ago, where Trump was actually calling out CNN, they were calling out the BBC, he was calling out BuzzFeed, and yet if you go to BuzzFeed's videos, which I don't, but every now and then you'll go through your recommendations, I'll see a BuzzFeed video, and it's got like 3 million views. I mean, why are people still giving energy to these people? But I think they're trying so hard to not make this happen. And I mean, there are people saying, for example, the whole supposed event where Donald Trump supposedly made fun of a disabled reporter. Now, that never did happen. Okay, not the way that they make you think about it. If you actually research it, you'll see that this is just another fabricated story. But if people say, if you have a problem with that, obviously, yes. If somebody made fun of somebody with a disability, that's not nice. But it's not the end of the world. What did Hillary Clinton want to do? She wanted, with the whole left side, they are so in love with wanting to start a war with Russia. What would you rather have? If you had to pick two evils, now obviously evil is still evil, but if you had the choice between somebody making fun of somebody for their disability, which is not nice, or somebody wanting to start potential World War III, which one would you pick? So again, it's not like I'm saying anybody doing that is right, but people are so outraged about it. Like, for example, when you saw our Hollywood actress at the Golden Globes, Meryl Streep, talking about how it hit her in the heart about how that happened. Yes, it's a bad thing if it happened the way that mainstream media projected it to be, which it wasn't. But she doesn't seem to have a problem with the fact that they were taking money that from the Hillary Foundation and putting it in their own pocket, that they want to start a war with Russia with the whole events that are going on with Syria. I mean, that doesn't touch her heart. And to me, and here's the thing, I had to take down my video the other day that I made about Meryl Streep because they flagged it because of a 30-minute video. Out of fair use, I did less than 2 minutes of showing a clip, and they actually ended up filing a claim, which I disputed and lost. So I guess my channel's not big enough to actually get away with fair use. So they actually had me take I took it down voluntarily because I'm like, I'm not going to make these other people money off of my 30-minute video based on 2 minutes of what I legally am allowed to use. But I'll talk about that too. Hollywood is so against Donald Trump. Why? If you think about it, they want unity, right? They don't want us to deport any of these illegal aliens. Now, my thing is, anybody should be allowed to come here. I mean, obviously, we came here and we became citizens at some point, whether it was this decade or a century or two ago, or maybe even further back. Okay, so we're all coming from somewhere else, unless you're a Native American Indian. I mean, you did come from another country. It just depended on when you came here. But think about these rich elitists who have no clue and are trying so hard to use their quote unquote star power to influence people, which sadly it does influence some, especially the younger, because the younger tend to be, for the average, a little more influential. But I mean, what's one of the things that very wealthy people have? Servants. They have people that are butlers. They have people who are doing their lawn work. There are people who go grocery shopping for them. How many of them are potentially illegal aliens? Now, obviously, I can't make a toll about that because I'm not going to go around searching each person's employment. But do you think they would suffer if all of a sudden illegal aliens who they could underpay would all of a sudden not be here anymore? Now, if you want to come into the country, come in legally. Why is that such a problem? That doesn't make somebody a racist if you want to get rid of illegal people. Try going to China and try and live there illegally and watch what they do to you. Go to Iran. Go to any other country for the most part, except for people, like over in what's going on in the United Kingdom, where they're having all of these problems with illegal immigrants going there. They're taking all the jobs. And that's something you have to think about. And that's one of the things Trump was trying to be against. He's not saying, well, if you're a foreigner, you're not allowed here. He's saying, if you're a foreigner, come here through the due process, do it the right way. And if you don't have a criminal record, you're welcome to come in. But you shouldn't just open the doors and say, hey, everybody, come on in. And all of these leftist elitists, these Hollywood fakes, who live in their gated communities, separate from the world, who make fun of the homeless. I mean, look at comedian after comedian about how they make fun of the homeless, and people laugh at it and find it funny. You find it funny that a fellow human being is no longer able to afford a home because of the corrupt banking system, to the point where they're on the streets begging for money so they can eat and survive as a joke? And people will laugh about that. And they want to talk about how people are offensive and how they get offended by things. Why don't they have a problem with that? And you have the news media, which is owned by, 6 or 7 corporations that do nothing but read from cue cards, who are going to do nothing but say that Donald Trump was influenced by the Russian government. And nowadays, they could just post anything like what BuzzFeed did the other week, printing out a 35-page supposed gossip column, which is basically what it is, with no proof about Donald Trump and the whole P-gate and all that other ridiculous stuff. So I guess news is, well, you can make an accusation and it doesn't have to be true. So does that mean we can, and they accuse people like us as being fake news. So they could literally just take gossip. I mean, they could literally just say, well, you know what? I heard that President Obama is gay. That's my belief. My sources told me, and which they never reveal their sources. So what if I said, I have a source and I believe allegedly that Obama's gay? Does that mean that can be printed as a newsworthy article? And it's ridiculous how they get away with this stuff. So to me, I really think this is bothering the majority of the American people because the left doesn't get it. Hollywood doesn't get it. And to me personally, I'm boycotting Hollywood. They're not that important to me. With the power of the internet, you can watch pretty much any movie or TV show you want. There are always places to find it. You think I'm going to support them by giving them my money when they are so ungrateful to us little people? I mean, look at the servants that they have. Do you think they are paying top dollar for their servants? Or do you think when they're getting their lawns clipped, they're using potentially labor that's not supposed to be there so they can save some money? Because if you think about it, why are the extremely wealthy staying so extremely wealthy? I mean, they talk about this in football. I mean, I'll give you a football reference. Right now, the San Diego Chargers, they wanted the city of San Diego to basically have its people in the surrounding areas pay for a stadium that is owned by a multi-billionaire. And because the people didn't want to do it, he is now moving his team to Las Vegas. Why do wealthy stay extremely wealthy? It's because they're cheap. They use other people's money. And we seem to be okay with that. So how many people who are San Diego Charger fans are still going to follow that team? So you have this billionaire who, instead of using his own money to purchase a building, tried to extort money from a city, which all of these people do in sports. They do this all the time. And we end up paying for it. And then they'll do sneaky things like what the Dallas Cowboys did, where they don't charge the people that live in Dallas. What they do is they charge a tax on all the tourists at the hotels, where they're paying approximately, some places it's up to 12%, but on average it's 7, they add a 7% tax to any tourist who goes to that area, regardless if they're going to a football game or not, which pays for the stadium, instead of these billionaires spending their own money. And this is what our government does. They borrow money from a private-owned bank called the Federal Reserve. That Federal Reserve is owned by shareholders like the Rothschilds, like the Rockefellers, like the J.P. Morgans of the world. And they take out that money and they gamble it on Wall Street. So they use money made out of thin air. And it's not even money. It's just I use that term because people understand what that means. And they give us the bill via taxes. And they scare you into thinking that if they can't borrow more money, that we'll go into a recession or things will be bad or we'll go off that fiscal cliff. So, I mean, as much as I know that Donald Trump is not Jesus and he's not going to save the world, at least he's talking about things. And this is where I give him credit, because no candidate I've ever seen in my 46 years of life have at least, pointed out the corruption. It totally justifies things I've been talking about for years. So when you talk about this inauguration, the sad part is nobody really knows if it's really going to happen the way it's supposed to. When was the last time anyone had ever had that conversation on an inauguration day? So just the fact that we actually have to say this stuff shows that people have more concerns for the wrong reasons than I've ever seen. And it's sad that we don't know what's going to happen on Inauguration Day. We have all of these people that are going around and wanting to protest, wanting to get people to think that there are going to be fights, that people are saying that it wasn't a legitimate presidency. I mean, do you think any of these people would be doing this if Hillary Clinton was finally in? I just don't understand it. So I would love to hear your opinions. What do you think is going to happen on Inauguration Day? I can't say, because obviously I don't have a crystal ball and I don't know the intentions of some crazy people. All I know is if it does go through, expect gold and silver to go quite high that day, because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. But knowing how they still are allowed to manipulate the prices, I expect it to be no more than a day before they hammer it down again. So to me, I really hope I wish I was wrong about Trump. I hope he decides to do the right thing and things do get better and he does audit the Federal Reserve or actually get us to print our own money from the U.S. Treasury and does things that makes things better. I really hope so. That's something I don't mind being wrong about. Because if anything, he's definitely a better candidate than Hillary Clinton ever will be. And the left, for some reason, doesn't choose to see that because they understand that if Hillary would have become president, their lives would be just that much easier. They talk about unity, but they don't really want unity. Go visit a celebrity's house and see how gated it is. They want to push out the people. Unless you're a mainstream reporter, you can't approach them. You can't talk to them. They want nothing to do with you unless they're promoting something. They talk about how, oh, we need to regulate guns, but yet how many movies from these very people that talk about how we need to regulate guns will have movies that use guns and kill people? Do as I say, not as I do. The hypocrisy is ridiculous. How many of you out there are tired of it? Who wants to support them anymore? But it's all choice. So the sad part is we don't know what's going to happen on Inauguration Day, but the fact that we have to talk about it shows how sad our state of being is in this country and how many people just believe everything that they're told without question. And that is dangerous because, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch my channel, I may talk about things you agree with. I may talk about things you think are absolutely nutball crazy. But you know what? I've never tried to drill it in your head to say, this is what you must believe in. This is what is the truth. What I say is, here's my point of view. Here's my research. Here's my opinion. You take what you want from it, but think for yourself. And you will never get that in school. They don't like you to think for yourself. They tell you what the history is, no matter how incorrect it is. And no matter how many things they leave out, or no matter how many things they take out of context. You will never see that in the mainstream media, when all they do is read from cue cards, and they are constantly being proven to be liars. And they will take rumors and turn them into news stories, and then sit there dumbfounded when they get caught. You will never hear this from a politician, other than Trump so far. You will never hear this. To think for yourself. But yet here, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, whether you like me or don't like me, I am not here reading from a script. I am not here telling you this is the way it is. You must follow me. No, I say you do what you want. Think for yourself. You will never grow as a human being if you are relying on your information and everything in your life based on what other people do and what other people say. Now, that doesn't mean you can't listen to them and extract some information that is beneficial, because sometimes you can learn more from your enemy than you can from your best friend. But just because you listen to someone doesn't mean you have to take every single thing that they say at face value without question. So all I'm saying is question the media, question Hollywood, question things that don't register with you and that just do not resonate. Something that your heart says, wait a minute, that doesn't feel right. People are so afraid to trust their own instincts anymore. And we're relying on these liars to tell us how to live, how to be, how to act. Why are they better? Why is anyone from Hollywood better than us? The quote-unquote common people. There is nothing common about me. And anybody that says that I am common, that's fine. That's their opinion. But we are supposed to be supposedly all created equal. And you're going to base your superiority because you have a lot more pieces of fake paper in your pocket? I don't get it. So I want to hear in the comment section what you think about the inauguration or anything that I talked about. Get a dialogue going. Get a discussion going. Get people that think only in the leftist point of view to come here, to listen to this and ask why they are never told to question things. Why they are always telling you this is how it is. This is how it will be. It only is that way if you choose to believe the lie. And that's why I've said so many times there's a reason why there's the word lie in believe. They don't want you to know. I would rather say I don't know something than say I believe in something. Because belief does not mean fact. It just means you hope that what resonates with you at that time is the truth. And that's just a matter of perspective. Everyone's perspective is different. So that would mean that everybody's truth can be different. And that's okay. You cannot control the masses if they all have separate individual thoughts that question authority. Why do you think they try so hard to tell you how to think? What's in style? What to get? What to avoid? They want to lump you in. There's a reason why people call the average people out there sheep. Because it's a lot easier to control a bunch of people that'll just follow what everybody else does. Just because it feels right, or they're afraid to go outside the box because of fear of judgment. You know how many people have attacked me? To this day, people still do it. They make fun of me and stuff. Like, I've had people talk about the fact that I don't have the same amount of hair as I did when I was a teenager or something. And I'm 46 years old. What do you expect? And what does the amount of hair on my head have to do with my information? And that's what a lot of them try and do. They try and attack character. They try and take you off point. They try and base it on emotion. And in the beginning, when I was very naive when it came to YouTube at first, yeah, it affected me and it worked. I shut down my original channel. Now, I also had a comic book channel at one point, which I shut down, but those for different reasons, because I thought in the grand scheme of things, they're just comic books. It's not that important to me if people are going to be liars and they're going to be rude, nasty people that spread rumors. I don't regret that decision to this day. But it can happen. They want you to base things on emotion. They want you to get angry. They want you to get frustrated. Because it's easier to control a person who's not using their rational brain to think and to process and to reason and to question. They want you to react. Why do you think that people like BuzzFeed and people like the MTV videos and all these others that make the most ridiculous videos and news stations that make these ridiculous posts, do you think they're doing it because they're stupid? No, they're doing it because they know it will get people emotionally attached to it. That means you're giving your energy to it. And that's what they want. Why do you think most children, when they want attention, they throw a temper tantrum? Because it gets the fastest results. That's what these people are doing. That's what Hollywood's doing. That's what the news media is doing. That's what our government is doing. And if somebody like Donald Trump can actually change it, if he actually could, you know what? God bless him. Allah bless him. Who knows? I doubt it because it's a corporation and he will never admit that to the public. But you know what? One step at a time. You know, you got to climb a ladder. You got to take that first step. And that's it. So I'm going to end this video right now. Luckily, I don't have to worry about it being flagged or anything because I didn't show any clips, even though fair use is legal. So I want to get a conversation going. So even after this is done, the people that are here communicate with each other. Get other people to interact. Get other people to realize it's okay to question. It's okay to doubt. It's okay to say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Because maybe you verify something and it ends up ultimately being right. At least you have verification of what they're doing. Don't just believe everything that they're saying. That time is gone. They've done that for centuries, feeding us information and leading us down a path. But thanks to things like the internet, they can't do it anymore. Or at least they can't do it as easily. And the more people we wake up, the less people that are asleep. So for those of you who say, oh, well, you know, I can't do anything. You can't do anything if you believe you can't do anything. Because again, there's the lie and the belief. You can do whatever you put your heart and mind and soul into. Question is, are you willing to do it? So if you think, oh, I can only wake up one person. Well, what if that one person is the person that somehow comes up with some idea that changes the world? That's something to think about. One person can change the world if you have the right person. And if you are the person that wakes them up, then you did a good job. Don't give up. Don't give in. Question. Take your money out of banks. Open up a federal credit union. Get rid of your credit cards. Stay out of debt. Stop feeding the beast. We'll never cure this if people keep feeding the beast. It may not be easy, but sometimes you got to make sacrifices. One step back to make two steps forward. Think about the future, not just the present. So thank you for watching. I can't wait to see your comments. Create a dialogue, get more people here to question things, and let's stop feeding the beast. We can do this. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. And say it with me. Don't forget to have your trolls spayed or neutered.